Hello, beautiful souls. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day you're watching this. This is for the full moon in Sagittarius that we're having on the 11th of June, 2025. It's around 3:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so take that time differential into consideration when you're trying to figure out what time this full moon is happening for you. And as always, look at where 20 degrees of Sagittarius and Gemini are in your chart, and you will know how this full moon is affecting your natal chart and what transits it's making to it. Okay, so I did look up the Sabian symbol. A child and a dog wearing borrowed eyeglasses. This symbol implies the ability or the necessity of indulging in playing, pretending, and making make-believe as an escape of indulgence and fantasy. Play and fantasy are very important and can lighten up one's life, and playing with pets, dogs especially, can be great fun. Sometimes it pictures a situation of people pretending to be something that they're not. Perhaps someone is pretending to be in control or to be smarter than they are. Sometimes, though, this can work to make a conscious shift. Eye strain can occur, especially if you don't want to see what's going on or prefer a pretend scenario instead of real life. Emulation leading to actualization. The rewards in make-believe, pets, dog obedience training, pantomimes, dress-ups, perceptions of other people, glasses, prescriptions, deliberately fooling others with false impressions, the blind leading the blind, not seeing people for who they are, goofing around too much, or not growing up. Now, all of that really, really makes sense, especially for the aspects that are going on with this chart. First of all, Jupiter is now in Cancer, right? It ingressed into Cancer the day before for this full moon. So the fact that Jupiter has transitioned a sign, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, we have to pay attention to that as well. And Jupiter is getting closer with that square to Saturn, and Saturn is in Aries now, right? So that kind of cardinal square can bring about the need to be serious, right? The need to know when is it time to play, when is it time to work. So the fact that we have that as the Sabian symbol kind of to send this energy, especially with Sagittarius, because Sagittarius can go too far, right? Sagittarius can have that tendency, but also Sagittarius has the ability to see things that other people don't see, to look past the horizon, to try out new things, to experience new life, to seek knowledge, to seek wisdom. So, yeah, I feel like that Sabian symbol kind of makes sense. Now, also, it talks about, the need to look towards getting past the illusion. This is this full moon. This is the first full moon where Saturn and Neptune are very, very close to each other to that conjunction. Now, remember, they're not fully going to be conjunct yet. If you're more interested in that, then you can go ahead and look into my playlist for Neptune in Aries, and that is in the I think I titled it Astrological Events or something like that playlist. But yeah, it's going through that, and then you have a square between Jupiter and Neptune. So that kind of illusion, that kind of that need to drop the false facades to learn what we need to learn, but also to reach for things that we haven't reached before. I think that that's what this full moon is really allowing us to do, is allowing us to close a chapter, and we have a trine with that moon to Mars. So there's that assistance in allowing us to do what we need to do. And it's in Leo, the child. Again, we have that energy. But yeah, we have the ability to really look and to close that chapter on anything that's fake, on anything that's not real, on anything that's just a party, that's just a game, that's just a masquerade, right? So working through illusions, I think, is one of the key elements of this full moon. Now, it is also making a trine over to Chiron, as Mars is making a trine over to Chiron. So what does that happen? That's a grand trine, right? You have the grand trine between Mars, Chiron, and the moon. I know maybe not a lot of astrologers will consider this a huge thing, but I do, because Sagittarius allows us, again, to look past the horizon and to see things that we haven't seen before, especially when it comes to what lessons we need to learn, right? How we need to evolve, how we need to mature, how we need to grow up, how we need to expand on things, so how to seek those new experiences. Again, so Chiron allows us to heal those inner wounds. It's still in Aries. It's getting there. It's slowly but surely going to, it's at the end, the last decan of Aries, right? So really, technically, what we've got is Sagittarius again. So I love that. It's kind of like playing into this full moon because it's in that last decan. The wound itself is us, our ego, our identity, how we act, how we think, how we feel, how we place ourselves in the world. So the Sagittarius full moon gives us the drive with that Martian energy to heal those wounds with Chiron, okay? Now, the third thing I want to talk about are sort of two things together. The half square between the Sun and Venus and the sextile between Mercury and Venus. This essentially allows us to look at the uncomfortable things in our relationships, especially with our own mind, right? Our own thoughts, who we are behind closed doors, because, again, you got all these other aspects going on to kind of give us the, give us the lesson for that. So that sextile allows us that compromise, that we can communicate with other people or communicate with our own mind, and that half square shows us what's uncomfortable, what needs to change, what's sort of starting to become an itch that we can't ignore, right? I think it's also interesting to see that while Lilith is at 29 degrees, or 8 degrees, 29 minutes of Scorpio, she's getting closer and closer to that opposition with Venus, who's at 5 degrees, 9 minutes of Taurus, and that Taurus-Scorpio axis, it can cause that friction. Remember, Venus is the light, in a way, and Lilith is the shadow. My goodness, this keeps popping up. So this opposition, right, can have us looking at the light and the shadow when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our money, our finances, the things that we want in life, like things, material things. So the shadow is kind of playing in the background of this desire to explore those issues with Sagittarius, but also to explore solution, right? Resolution, compromise, again, with that sextile between Mercury and Venus, the ability to compromise. So this opportunity is opening up. And we still have that sextile with Saturn and Uranus too. So this opportunity to open up to maybe different things, is trying out new things that you haven't thought you would try out before. They could be a little bit weird. They could be a little bit crazy, maybe. It could be like, oh my God, this is so crazy, I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because it seems like it will work out, and it will. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, actually. I was going to keep going, but I think this full moon is pretty straightforward. All right, I hope this helped. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and I will see you in the next one.